Mia, hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm at the National Snow Show. You're at the National Snow Show.
I am.
You've been on stage at the National Snow Show. You're doing all sorts of crazy things. We were talking just before we started recording. You were on with Tim Woolwood and Billy Morgan and a few others.
Yeah.
Shemi, what were you doing?
Just this most random game show anyone has ever done in their life, yeah. It was funny. Like, I think going into it, no one had a clue what was going to happen. Like, Tim was like, oh, yeah, it'll just be some questions and some games. And we were just like, okay, we'll just go with this.
We'll go with the flow.
So, yeah, it was fun.
Is it quite cool being able to connect up with people from the industry, you know, all in one place? It's quite cool.
Yeah, I think it's nice coming here and, like, knowing who everyone is and, like, even like knowing them as close friends. It's really nice. Amazing.
So thank you for coming on the podcast. The thing that we're going to start with is I'm going to give you a piece of advice, but it's not from me. It's from someone that's been on the podcast before.
Yep.
Offering you a piece of advice. Don't know who it's going to be to, so it's open ended. But it's from JB Barrow, who is the world's fastest snowboarder, 211 kilometers per hour, being pulled by a car. Sounds crazy to me, but he loves it. So each to their own. But his piece of advice is to find something you really enjoy doing. And if you enjoy doing it, you're going to stick at it. And if you stick at it, then you'll get better at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, I mean, is
That's
great
pretty.
advice for you. And is what you've basically been doing since you were, what, just under 2 years old?
Yeah, just under 2. Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy. I saw that, I read that you were on a snowboard at 18 months old.
Yeah, snowboard at 18 months old, yeah. Everyone's like, what was it like? Like, I
can't
remember. Like, it's like, what were you doing when you were 2? Like, you wouldn't remember either. It's like, I don't remember.
Probably not snowboarding, but what friends, family say about when you were, you know, when they put you on a snowboard and, you know, how did they say, oh, it was like natural?
I think, I'm not really sure. I guess my mum and dad grew up snowboarding. They just, I guess, went through them to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, snowboarding, skiing family.
Was that from holidays, or is it, I mean, where did you grow up in the north?
So I grew up like just south Manchester, so no mountains, like nowhere here in the UK. So yeah, I did go to France and Switzerland and places like that, but I think it was nice to come back home and also have like the more like European side of like my life. So yeah, I grew up like almost in 2 places, but
were you travelling around when you were competing?
Yeah.
How did you, at what point did you or your family kind of realise that actually this thing is quite serious and you're quite good at it?
Yeah, I think mainly when I was like 7 or 8, that's when I first started to do freestyle, maybe a little bit younger. Yeah, just like obviously how every beginner starts really, and then I think just riding in the park, and then they obviously realised, oh, like this is the journey she could take. And I think as well at that time, like obviously, I was 7, but I feel like they were like, she's old enough to realise like that she could be good enough. You know what I mean? So I think it's nice to have faith from loads of different people.
Yeah, it's nice. And lots of support as well if you're travelling around as well. Is it in a camper van just around Europe?
Yeah, camper van. But
That's
now
cool.
it's started to be more apartments and stuff because of all the travelling. Like, we can't really drive around the motor.
No, although that is probably quite fun still.
Yeah.
So just explain to people, a lot of people know what you do, but just obviously snowboarding, but what is your specific discipline and what are you good at?
So I mainly do slopestyle and big air, but like mainly I would side, if I had an option, I'd side to slopestyle. Yeah, I've been doing it for about pretty much half my life, really. Yeah, I just enjoy it so much, and that's, so.
And how do you describe to someone that didn't really know big air and slopestyle?
So slopestyle has like jumps and like the rail features, whereas big air is just one jump, like I think it's best of 3 runs. So yeah.
Cool. I mean, when I was 15, I was scared to go on roller coasters and scared to go down water slides.
Really?
You are at the top of something that's quite tall and quite scary. Do you just have no fear?
I mean, someone asked me this before in my interview on the stage, but I feel like sometimes I do, but it's like you have to channel it almost and like just think about it for a minute and then just breathe and go. Like there's no like thinking about anything. Like you've just got to switch your mindset on and
And have you been quite lucky with crashes. I mean, every snowboarder skier has some sort of, but touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood. I have had one. Last year I was riding into a jump. I landed a cab 10, rode into a jump, and didn't feel like I had enough speed because it was spring, so it was really slow and slushy. Riding into a jump, caught my edge, and just like face planted on the actual takeoff of the jump and like slid. But my dad was watching like the whole thing, and he thought that'd be fine because it looked, because he was on the knuckle above, it looked like I'd gone like that, but I hadn't. I'd just like straight to my face. Heli lifted.
Oh, like, really?
Yeah, really. It was pretty big.
What had you done?
Just like concussion, but it was like quite a big scale of concussion. Like, I think I was out for at least half an hour, 45 minutes. So.
Was that a competition or?
Just training. It was like last day of the season, I think. Yeah, last day. I had like one more comp after that, but it wasn't like an important big comp. So I was quite lucky of when I timed it, but haven't really had too many injuries. So touch wood.
Touch wood. Yeah, no, of course. Cause 15 years old, when you're competing, are you competing? Like, are there junior sections? Are you also in just the main sections as well? Is it a bit of both?
Yeah, that's like a bit of both. Like sometimes I'll do, so for instance, I do Junior World Championships earlier this year, which was, it's up to 18-year-olds. So, I mean, it's still quite a wide range of ages. But Europa Cups and World Cups, they're like, Europa Cups are like pretty much same standard now as World Cups. Maybe World Cups are a little bit more intense with all the riders, like all the pro riders, but yeah, pretty much like world standard.
I mean, your 2022 has been amazing so far. Just to give people listening an idea and context of how good it's been. First place at the Red Bull Rail Yard.
Yep.
First place Big Air, and second slopestyle at the Junior World Champs. First at Vans Plaza. 8 Europa Cup wins, and overall women's champion at the World Rookie Tour Finals.
Yeah.
When you hear all of that back, and it's like, wow, are you thinking, I've trained hard for this, like, I feel good? Or is that like, okay, that's this step, now I'm ready for the next? I
feel like what my mindset is I just take every day as it goes, really. Like, obviously, I'll have like a plan of where I'm going to go next, but I just like, if I win a competition, I just think, right, that's done. I've won. Like, this might, or if I come second, this is what I need to improve on, you know, like, just really thinking about everything that's going on and then moving it into the next thing.
I mean, you're the youngest person that we've had on here, but you speak, and your mindset, and even like listening to you on stage as well, is very switched on. Obviously, you're traveling a lot. Like, there's you're surrounded by other people and peers that like the similar things as you. But is it difficult sometimes going, well, I'm 15, or I'm having a different life to a lot of other people my age? Or is it like, actually, this is a really cool opportunity?
I think some of me is like, oh, I'm missing out on all that, like, 15, 16-year-old, like, going to sleepovers and hanging out with your mates, like, but then I look at it and I'm like, well, would I want to go to sleepovers, or would I want to send it off big jumps, like?
Love that.
I mean, it's just like, the odds are like, can't even compare it.
When you put it that way.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's like, obviously I want to be doing this journey, but when I'm snowboarding, it's just like, I said in an interview, like, a few weeks back, like, wherever I go, snowboarding is literally just my home. Like, obviously I live here, but snowboarding, like, my snowboard is literally, like, where my life is, basically.
Was it always snowboarding over skiing?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't really have any choice. Like, my uncle and my dad, like, my uncle skis and my dad snowboards, so my dad's always been like, I'm just going to be a snowboarder.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad now.
Oh, definitely. Well, it's worked out well.
Yeah.
You're only young, but you've had like 13 years experience effectively of doing it, and you've achieved so much already. Yeah. But how high are your aims? How high are your aspirations for yourself? But then on the flip side of that, are you quite good at managing the pressure that you put on yourself? Is there pressure?
I would say there is quite a lot of pressure, but when I'm snowboarding, it's like freeing, if you know what I mean? Like, when I'm snowboarding, like, all my worries just go, and I'm just in the mindset then. But yeah, there's quite a lot of pressure, because obviously if you've learnt a new trick, then you've got to be looking behind you, but also looking in ahead of you. Like, you've got to be like, oh, that's what I need to do next, or oh, she's got that trick that I've just landed, or so there's quite a lot of competition, but it's friendly, if you know what I mean. So it's quite like the whole girls and even the male like snowboarding environment, like all of it is just so nice and friendly.
Katie Umrall's been on the podcast and she said exactly the same thing. Yeah. She said it's just such a cool, like everyone really gets on. Everyone's competitive, but with themselves, and they want to do the best for themselves, not necessarily, but they want to see other people succeed as well. And she was also talking about the progression in the industry of young girls coming up and having an opportunity for, equal competition prizes, the fact that there's actually competitions out there and they're put on the level, and then you are the person that's, you're 10 years behind her, you are part of that next generation of people that are coming through. Do you notice that it's getting better / on a good point at the moment? Oh, definitely. Like, it's just, like, looking at snowboarding, like, snowboarding 20 years ago was, like, obviously I wasn't alive before
then,
you were born, yeah.
But, like when like Jenny was around, for example, like 10 years ago, it was like, obviously it was amazing for the time because there was all these girls like absolutely sending it, like all the boys. But now, like, you can see from then till now, like there is like the gap's almost closed. Like it was pretty close then, but now it's like the boys sort of went ahead and now all the girls are catching up again, and it's obviously it's like scary. It's like, whoa, like that's the level that I need to be at. But it's also like so cool to think about that all the girls are like, they're not backing off almost. They're like we want to be up there, like we want to be like the boys, which I think is really cool. So people, young girls now will be seeing you as, well, young people in general will be seeing you as a role model, which is weird. Yeah. I can imagine as a 15-year-old, but role model is like, what would your advice or a tip be for young people looking to get into snowboarding that they might think, oh, maybe I'm a bit out of place, or am I actually like, is this for me? What would your tip be? I think I said it quite a lot out there. Like, I just think find the right group of people. Like, don't find people that don't suit your like personality. Like, find people that are the closest to your personality as you can, and just go and have fun with them. Like, even if you don't really know them that well, just hang out with them and you'll get to know them. And it's like all my mates at Chill Factor, like there's about 4 of us, and we've known each other since we were really small, and we've just got on so well. And like every time I go there, I look forward to going. I think that's like the main thing. If you want to progress, find people that you want to be around. Really simple question. How fun is it and how cool is it to be able to work with different sponsors and brands, as like you're getting free stuff, you're getting to do awesome different trips and stuff like that? That must be quite cool, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, especially, like, the best thing is coming home and just like seeing all these boxes, and you're like at the start of the season, I'm just like, it's like Christmas come early. It's just so much fun, like ripping through them all, like, oh my god, look at this new board I got, or look at these new bindings. That's so cool. And it was interesting, I read that you were too young to qualify for the Beijing Winter Olympics, which has just happened, so your kind of focus now is on Milan in 2026. But before asking about that, what's the reason behind that? Because like you see the Summer Olympics, like Sky Brown with the skateboarding, she was 12, 13. Yeah. Is it just the rules from either within the Winter Olympics or within your discipline? I think it's just the rules that that like they just don't work the same. And I think thinking about it, like most of them skater girls that were in the Olympics, they're all like below my age, which is super weird to think about, that they're all like these little mini grums shredding it at the Olympics. But I think as well, because people have looked out and thought, oh, well, they can actually ride this. And I think maybe back in the day when they created this rule, like it was only like people who were like in their 20s that could ride these big courses. So I think they've just maintained that rule, but it would have been sick if they had like changed it. So yeah, but it means you've got 4 years now, which I can imagine you wish it was tomorrow, but 4 years to look forward to Milan, to qualify to get there. Yeah. That's the aim? That is the aim. And then it'll be the aim to medal? Yeah. So do you let yourself think about that, or is it all just about the next competition? I think at the moment, obviously, it's like the end of the tunnel is the Olympic, like the Olympic rings. Yeah. But I think obviously just taking it day by day for me, like really just thinking about what I need to improve on next. But yeah, like the Olympics would be. That would be quite cool. Yeah. In Milan as well. So in Europe, it's not having to travel to... Yeah. Even my science teacher emailed my mum, she was like, when Mia goes to the Olympics, I'm going to come and watch. And I was like... Science teacher in the crowd with a side up. Yeah. That is quite cool. But
what advice would you give to someone who's either snowboarding that will help them with it? Is there something else that you can do aside from just the practice, but is there stretching, gymnastics, other things that will help?
Yeah, obviously it's like on Instagram you just see the snowboarding, but it's almost like a cake if you imagine it. Like on snowboarding, it's like the thin, nice layer on the top, and then but like all the way underneath, the bits that you can't see are like going to the gym like twice, 3 times a week, like skating, surfing, like all them little base layers that build up to the finale, if you like. Yeah.
Going back to Jamie's advice for you at the beginning of having fun, and just listening to what you said there, is obviously that's a lot. Like there's your own expectation, but I would say there's probably expectation around you for the Winter Olympics in 2026. You, like you said, gym, training, travel. How good are you at, around all of those stresses, just going back to at the core of it all, I love snowboarding. Like that's just what I want to do. I love it. Are you quite good at that? Yeah,
I think like obviously like my happy place is riding like all the rails in there. So if ever I'm like, I was in Australia in the summer, and I was riding the jumps, and I couldn't get my head into it. Like there was no speed, and I was just like, right, there was like the best rail line down the side, and I was like, right, I'm not going to hit the jumps at all today. I'm just going to go and reset my mind and go and ride the rails. And I think when I'm doing something in snowboarding that I really, really love, like everything, all my worries go away, and I'm just like riding down, I love it. Like you're just thinking like, I love snowboarding so much.
So leading on from that, 2 questions. But the first one, what is the best thing about snowboarding?
Definitely either the style, like the clothing, or just like when you're riding with your mates and like you do like just a trick that's so random and everyone's there like screaming at you like, that was so sick. Like you just like, yeah, that's the best thing.
What's the hardest part about it?
Hardest part is definitely coming down and then like, well, for me, it's like making myself stretch afterwards. Like sometimes, and I'm like the worst for it, I'll just come down and like just not do it, like watch TV or something. Yeah. But I need to like, if I want to be on this pathway, I've got to tell myself I need to stretch or like I need to go to the gym. And another hard part is definitely like because I'm in my final year of school, so I've got to do my GCSE work. So that's definitely another component that just adds to the...
Yeah, well, that's there. You're studying at the same time, so you're studying, you're competing, you're traveling, you're training. Do you get time to do any other sports, activities, bits and pieces? Do you have any other hobbies?
Yeah, so I do some skating. That's why if I look red, it's because I've just been skating out there. Yeah, I do skating, surfing. I do a lot of like road cycling, but that's like just because it really helps get my legs strong for the winter season. But yeah, I love just any board sports or anything like that.
They're quite transferable, aren't they?
Yeah, like surfing, the paddling bit's hard, but you can really practice like turning on the mountain when you're riding down. And even, I don't know if you've seen Shemi's skateboard, she's got one of them surf skateboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah, well, I suppose you've got a good balance, so you can kind of get that, you can kind of take that to anything.
Yeah. What's
the coolest trip that you've been on?
Coolest trip? Not really too sure. I think probably my Australian trip that I just came back from. I think just because it was so much different than anywhere I've ever been. Like you're just driving down the road and it's just like kangaroos everywhere. It's just like it's the maddest thing ever because they're just like all hopping around. You know, like there's so much to see, and just the whole like mountainscape is completely different than the European scene because they're all just hills with like these gum trees all over them. So yeah, that's probably the best.
And where's somewhere that you haven't been that you would love to go?
Probably like Japan or China, just because I love like that whole culture and like I'd love to go and just see like all the deep snow and like
Japanese. I didn't realise how big it was over there skiing and snowboarding, but it's a whole different. I've met a few people this weekend that said, "Oh yeah, Japan would be amazing to go to."
Yeah, I think one of my friends is going to Japan over winter. I'm so jealous. I'm just like, I really like, even if it was just for like a day or like I could just flick myself there, and I was like,
yeah. What's so different about it?
I just think like whenever I was in primary school, I'd be looking through all like the geography books or something. I'd see like Japan and China and all like the houses and just so much like different and like all the
different cultures.
Yeah. So I think it would be like going to Australia again, but just like I just love seeing the world and seeing different things.
Definitely. I've got some quick fire questions for you.
Yeah.
Some of which, well, most of which are about snowboarding. A couple of which aren't, which I've just randomly thrown in there. So it's a kind of slight change of tack. But what's your favourite outfit to wear on the slopes?
Favourite outfit? Probably, everyone will probably be thinking my massive green outfit. But definitely my most recent favourite outfit is I've got like these khaki green trousers and my Metallica t-shirt. So,
That's cool. There's walking around the show. There are so many different styles. Like the colour, it's all about style, isn't it? It's just like adding to that whole culture of the industry. It's so cool. How many boards do you have?
Ooh, probably only one at the moment. I've got two of like the same one, but I'm only riding that one for now. But in the past, I've had up to like 6 boards at a time.
Do they feel different? Are you kind of like, oh, that one, I know that, like, I feel confident in that one, even though they might be slightly different?
Yeah, like people from the outside looking in that maybe don't snowboard, like they're like, oh, it's just a snowboard, like what can be so different? But it's crazy to think about all the little flexes that go like that, and the bases and the edges and like camber, and it's just like there's so many different components just to put into like a plank of wood.
Well, we had Holly Bradshaw, who's an Olympian pole vaulter on here, and I had no idea that. I just thought they had one pole vault. They have like 20, 30,
really?
And they don't break down, obviously, because otherwise it would not really make sense. So they have to carry them and travel with them all in like massive bags that are however many foot long. And I was like, I had no idea that was a thing, and that just reminded me of it, of
That's
like the
crazy.
little quirks. But they have slightly different ones depending on weight or how high you want to jump or various things. And it reminded me of that. That's quite funny. So you kind of said there, and it might be the same answer, but if you could snap your fingers and go to anywhere in the world for a week, where would you go?
Definitely Japan, like I just
Japan.
said. But like I think either Japan or somewhere in America, but I don't know where, probably like New York or something.
Ooh, cool. Very nice, very nice. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Definitely. Oh, like 100%. Whenever I go to any restaurant, I'm like, can I have a ham and pineapple pizza?
I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you said that. I
best
agree.
thing.
What is your favourite post-competition or post-ride or whatever snack or meal?
Weetabix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but like I eat Weetabix every day. Like that's my meal for my breakfast. Like milk in a bowl, put it in the microwave.
Oh, you're a microwave person.
I'm a microwave person. You put it in the microwave until it's just warm enough. Weetabix.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you really don't like? Is there anything that you have to, as part of whatever training that you have to eat or drink that you're like?
There's not really a thing that you need to follow really.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's whatever you want to eat, I guess.
Like when we're on the road, it's just like McDonald's because it's the only thing that's like right down the motorway.
That is
it's
perfect training route.
We're just driving down the road. Oh, Burger King, fine again.
Oh, and you're travelling a lot as well, so it just happens to be that. Big air or slopestyle?
Slopestyle.
Why? Just because?
I just love riding the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And I
your
think
thing.
that's where I can get more points on the rails.
And this is an obvious answer for you, but is snowboarding better than skiing? If so, then why?
Definitely.
Why?
Because when I tried skiing, I always broke my leg.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. And your dad's a snowboarder as well,
Yeah,
so
and my mum.
that's why. And what's your favourite thing to do that isn't snowboarding?
Favourite thing? Oh, playing my guitar.
Yeah?
Yeah. Definitely. Like, if I can't go away with my guitar, I'm really sad. Yeah.
I like that. So if you had to ask a question to yourself in 10 years' time, if you were sitting here and you're still snowboarding, what would your question be to yourself?
I don't actually know. Like, that's a hard one.
No, I know, because usually people say, we've asked the question before, like 10 years behind, asking yourself 10 years ago, or give yourself a piece of advice, but asking yourself a question in the future is like...
What Metallica song would you listen to right now? That's what I would ask.
I like that. That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
Is that the favourite band?
I love Metallica. Like Iron Maiden or Metallica.
Do you listen to music when you're riding?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can ride without music, but that day will not be a good day. Like, it would not be a good day for me if I didn't have music. But yeah, music is just like, it's like something that I can, like, there's something when music's playing, I can just like channel it into my snowboarding. And it's weird because if I've got like chilled music out, it like affects my snowboarding. If I've got like Metallica, or if I've got like, I don't know, Pink Floyd or something, it just like, my riding switches.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, yeah.
So what's next for you in 2022 and then going into 2023? Competitions, more training, more of the same?
Yeah, World Cup season.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I can get another World Cup next year at the end of the season. And then hopefully the nines again, but still waiting for an invite. But fingers crossed, because I really enjoyed it last year.
Exciting. Well, yeah. I mean, it's amazing what you've achieved so far, and it's going to be exciting to see how you get on in the future. The only thing that's left for you is, I gave you a piece of advice at the beginning from Jamie. So now it's your chance to offer a piece of wisdom from Mia to someone that will be coming on the podcast soon.
Ooh, I guess just keep calm and breathe and enjoy every minute of what you're doing.
I love that. Yeah. That's a great point to end on. Mia, thank you so much.
Thank you.